Greetings once again. This is Dr. Bill Bailey, and this is VirtZine. VirtZine is the online magazine of virtualization and cloud computing, and I'm glad you could join us for this particular edition of VirtZine. Been a long time since we've had a VirtZine netcast, a very, very long time, and I'm sorry for that, but you know, this has almost become a quarterly broadcast of the VirtZine netcast. I tell you, it has been a while, and I apologize for that, but we've just had a lot going on. So let's get into VirtZine. First of all, I want to remind you that we are proud members of the Tech Podcast Network, techpodcast.com. If it's tech, it's right here on the VirtZine netcast. We're also proud members of the International Association of Internet Broadcasters, and so I just want to recognize those entities and let you know that we are involved in everything that they're doing on their various networks. Want to talk about some really important things that are happening in the virtualization and cloud computing space. And first of all, we're going all the way back to January. Like I said, it's been a while since we've had a netcast on VirtZine. Back in January, I talked about the fact that Fedora 21 is looking pretty good for cloud users. And the reason is they have broken Fedora into different flavors, and the flavors are for different purposes. There's a server version, there's a desktop version, and now there's a cloud version or flavor that they have available, and that is designed for a cloud environment. So whether you're talking about hundreds of cloud-based virtual machines or a smaller number, it is a smaller, more concise version of Fedora, and is really designed for workstations provided from the cloud. So that is a powerful addition to the Red Hat family. Fedora 21 is their latest release, and so I wanted to mention that to you. Also, Citrix acquires Sanbolic. Sanbolic is a storage vendor, and storage is an area that Citrix really has needed to get into, so this is a good move for Citrix to get into the storage arena, particularly when it comes to desktop virtualization, which is, of course, one of the things that with their product Zen Desktop that Citrix focuses on. And so Sanbolic provides an in-house storage solution to be able to do turnkey delivery of virtual machines. Now, also another new product that has been acquired, or a product that's been acquired, is Immidio. Immidio is a company that produces a product called Flex. And I've used Immidio Flex before, many years ago, so you know, I'm about 5 years out of date with this particular product. I'm sure they've continued to improve it and improve upon it, but it's basically a profile management solution, and gives them an ability to take particularly virtualized desktop profiles and virtualize them properly, and it's a very powerful tool. And basically VMware has purchased them in order to incorporate the product into VMware Horizon View customers. So their acquiring of that company will allow them to take that technology and pull it into VMware View, which is already a very powerful and very good VDI product. I've got a lot of experience with View myself, and I can tell you that VMware is doing some good things with that particular product. Now, here's an interesting article that I had in February that I posted on VirtZine. By the way, I would encourage you to go to VirtZine, VirtZine.com. That's where I post the articles that this netcast comes from. So if we do have a little time between netcasts, at least you've got something you can stay up with the virtualization and cloud computing world through going to the blog directly. Now, this is an article on the future of virtualization. It's from ServerWatch Magazine, an article by Paul Rubens, and it talks about the future of virtualization. Now, it goes into talking about VMware and how it's grown as a company, and that though it has grown as a company, that Microsoft is providing kind of getting a run for their money with Hyper-V, mainly because if you have a Microsoft license and you're already a Microsoft customer, Hyper-V is extremely inexpensive to use for a virtualization platform. I just got out of a class that it was really designed as a class for Citrix 7.6, and it was a boot camp type class. We had 2 full days of getting into Zen Desktop and Zen App 7.6, but all of the lab platform was running on Hyper-V. And so it was very interesting. It was really the first time I'd worked with Hyper-V for any extensive period, and it was actually not bad. I mean, I'm not a big Microsoft guy, but I got to admit, they are definitely creating a product, or have created a product, that is really working out well for them in certain areas. And so basically, I'm thinking that between Hyper-V and don't forget open source KVM based hypervisors, there's some competition that's going on for VMware. VMware doesn't just have it sewn up. So that's something to think about. But beyond, down the road, what's going to happen to VMware, what's going to happen to the other hypervisors, all of this is discussed in this particular article on the future of virtualization. So I'd encourage you to check that out. Now, also, there was an article from February, latter part of February, talking about a competitor, a Docker competitor for Windows Server. Now, Docker has always been primarily in the Linux arena, but this particular Docker competitor is for Windows Server. And it's really interesting what they've been able to do here. It's a little-known startup that has started, basically offers data protection for SQL Server migration tools and so forth. But this startup has also created this Docker container. And it says the Fort Collins, Colorado-based company's software is a lightweight 8.5 megabyte server installation that offers a native alternative to Linux-based Docker containers. At the same time, Microsoft and Docker are working on porting their containers to Windows, as announced last fall. So from several different aspects, it's interesting to see what's happening. And I've said all along that the Docker technology is going to be more and more key to what's going on with some of these tools. Now, another big announcement that was made, and this was made a little more recently, at least in March, is that VMware vSphere 6 has officially been released. Now, it was announced a long time ago what 6 was going to be and the features and so forth, but it's now actually out and available for download and installation. The latest version of VMware's flagship product, vSphere 6, is available as of the 16th of March of 2015. And so it has more than 650 new features. It's a very powerful upgrade to the version 5.x vSphere, and so it's really pretty amazing. They've expanded it. Some of the most important updates include doubling of the amount of virtual machines available per cluster from 4,000 to 8,000, a similar doubling of the number of hosts per cluster from 32 to 64, tripling the RAM per host from 4 terabytes to 12 terabytes, 12 terabytes of memory per host. Wow, that's amazing to think about. VMware 6 also upgrades technologies for storage, high availability, and disaster recovery. One feature that's received a huge amount of attention is virtual volumes, or vVols, virtual volumes, writes Tanya Group analyst Tom Fenton. Completely changes the way its hypervisor consumes storage. It radically changes how storage is presented, consumed, and managed by the hypervisor. He believes it will revolutionize virtual storage. Pretty exciting stuff coming out about VMware vSphere 6. So that's something to look forward to. I'm looking forward to using it myself. I'm not going to be an early adopter in the enterprise computing space to jump in there and start using it immediately. But as time goes by and as some bug fixes come out, I'm going to look forward to installing that and getting that going. Now, the last thing I want to mention here from just today, actually, I think the article was from yesterday that I posted here, but this is fresh off the press, and that is a new version of Ericom is worth a look. Now, I've personally installed and used Ericom before. It's basically an alternative to Citrix, particularly in the Zen app arena, and I was pretty impressed with it before. I couldn't see using it at the time as a replacement for Citrix. We have a tremendous Citrix installation at work, and you know, it's entrenched, it's in use, it's working well, and it's not something I was looking to replace, but I was curious about Ericom. Now, this new release is called Ericom Connect V7. It's a ground-up rewrite of their desktop virtualization product, and in a lot of ways, according to Brian Madden, it seems more modern than Citrix or VMware's products, which is pretty interesting to think about. The latest version of the VDI and RDSH desktop and app virtualization solution, formerly known as Access Now, Connect is now a complete rewrite which was 2 years in the making. It focuses on enterprise scalability, supporting 100,000 concurrent users. That's pretty impressive. And the ease of use to install everything, the entire system, including the back end, in 19 minutes. That's pretty impressive. And reporting based on actual useful business intelligence thanks to their new data architecture, which is very different. They're not as dependent on the traditional SQL database as they used to be. Now, they have a SQL database, and they store some information there, but it's not as heavily involved in SQL for the entire product. And that basically allows most everything to be held in memory and be very, very fast. Now, management of this new product is done by a web-based dashboard, and the new dashboard is based on widgets and looks very nice and modern. Very much improved over the old Access Now admin console. So the whole thing works together. It's very intuitive in how to use it. You can create groups of applications, groups of servers, groups of users, manage them then as a group. And you can associate a group of apps with AD items and apply groups to hosts. So it's really impressive what they've done with this new product. I'd encourage you to check it out and look into it. And as I said before, check out VirtZine, VirtZine.com. Stay up with what's going on in the virtualization and cloud computing community. And join us next time. And I'll tell you what, keep your head in the cloud.